Last match was very likely the closest one we've had yet. It is time to continue that very excellently close series as Cal Berkeley continues to battle against Washington. My name is Day9, this is Grubby, and I'm joined with our excellent analyst, Tim. This is Heroes of the Dorm, and I gotta say, that was a treat to watch of a match. The fact that there were so many turn-ins, the fact that there were so many objectives taken, so many team fights, and the losing team, Washington, really only barely lost. Just really careful, precise control.
Yeah, we're basically three fans here sitting in the front row watching a really awesome game of Heroes of the Storm. And we'll commentate it too.
We'll have moments. Well, let's go ahead and look at a player spotlight here as Suppy is playing for Berkeley. Suppy has been around what we call esports for a long time. He's played in a number of tournaments. He's played for StarCraft 2, previously on the team Evil Geniuses, which is a great branded team that we have floating around in esports. But this guy has been around the block, and it's showing. He was playing Brightwing last game, and he was literally in every single team fight helping out his teammates when he could.
And one of the things that really shines through from Suppy is that, and I'm a big fan of Suppy. He's a really hard worker. Yeah, right? Nobody's like, I'm sort of so-so on Suppy. I mean, he's pleasant, he's extremely hardworking, and he's very sharp. And especially with a character like Brightwing, you're not just looking at your own screen, you're constantly trying to monitor your allies, see where you need to be. You have to have good map awareness, and that's something that Suppy is exceptional at with his background in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, exactly. In StarCraft 2, so many things are happening, and you need to foster that awareness. You see a lot of StarCraft players actually going on support characters in Heroes of the Storm. Here we have another player spotlight here, Brian Eyeshiny McCarthy, who plays for the Washington Hot Dogs, and he enjoys playing humans versus zombie stack. This is one of the fun modes that you can play in Blizzard games, kind of something community created, and just to enjoy yourself extra much.
And I especially love that he has been competing since the age of 8. I think that goes true for almost everyone here in the entire studio that we're at right now down here in Los Angeles. That, I mean, once you get that competitive itch going, it's hard to shirk it off. Now,
yeah, it never goes away. You're always there driving, trying to move forward. And we see it with this team. His team replicates that feeling as well, as they are trying to, with all the turn-ins, all the action we saw in the last game. Eyeshiny is a great candidate for his teammates.
The question is, can Washington maintain that composure all game long? Because I think Grubby stated it best at the end of last segment. Weren't really huge mistakes from Washington. It wasn't a gigantic error. The next map is going to be Cursed Hollow, and this map is one where you have many opportunities to get back into the game if you're behind. So let's go ahead and hop into the hop into the Battleground preview to see what's going to be happening on this next match. Cursed Hollow, known for the standard 3 lanes, but with a massive amount of space between those lanes. The general goal is to curse the enemy by collecting tributes. Collect 3 throughout the game, and immediately all the towers and forts disable. The enemy minions drop to 1 health. While all this is going on, the 6 mercenary camps ensure that there are many options to pressure, to counter pressure, to read what your opponents are doing, and to respond. All in all, it is probably my favorite map in the entire map pool as a result of the very dynamic, tactical, decision-based gameplay you have to execute properly in order to win.
Yeah, and it also gives a lot of different possibilities, really, of how you want to do your playstyle. You have a number of heroes that have global teleport that can allow them to push enemy lanes and then get into the combat anyway. So will we see a lot of the usual picks here, the biggest damage dealers, the generally accepted best support? Illidan is one of them. Or are we also going to maybe see a little bit more variety in the style there?
Well, we'll see here, as mentioned by Grubby there, California Berkeley has picked up Illidan for Fan, and why not, man? His early game was a little wonky in the last game, but his mid to late game was legit beast mode. On their side, you have Jaina and Sylvanas picking up heroes that A, do a lot of damage, and B, have strong heroics. Sylvanas is an important pick against an Illidan, just because he can silence him out before he dives into a fight, and at that point, he's a sitting duck.
And especially in the early game, it means that Washington has the opportunity to do the tri-lane push. Sylvanas' trait shuts down towers and minions upon shots. Love the follow-up choices from the Golden Bears. It looks like they're going to continue on their trend of making sure their damage is high. Obviously, Vala, a very standard range damage dealer, but Tacet R2 with Archon mode means big damage output in tiny bursts, such as critical team fights.
Now, whenever someone jumps in hard on you, like Illidan can do with the follow-up of his allies, it's great to have some kind of disengage and disable method. That's exactly what they're getting here. Zagara, this is mind-boggling, another amazing pusher next to Sylvanas there, and Brightwing with the area of effect healing, free healing, the global teleport, and the disable, which we mentioned before. It's really good against Illidan, but Golden Bears took it away from them. Now they've got it.
I want to say this in the nicest way possible. The comp for Washington is that we don't like fan comp. They're trying to get rid of him very, very quickly. They're respecting that pickup fan. The follow-up, though, from Berkeley is huge here as we go straight to Rhaegar and Tassadar, by the way, which will support fan and ETC. This composition is a composition you do not want a team that knows how to hit their buttons have.
Yeah, if I needed to write a perfect hero composition, I would look at Carl Berkeley. Those 5 heroes, substitute none, and it's perfect.
They cover each other's weaknesses very well. There's great in synergies. This is a really strong composition.
This is insane, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time in the selection process, there are bans in many professional leagues. Illidan, Rhaegar, ETC, very often high probability bans. Oh my God, never mind. Washington has chosen my favorite hero. This doesn't matter. They're the best. Go Washington. Okay, let's back up a little bit. Again, Berkeley has what I would call the canonical best in each category, and they especially have a good synergy. But Asmodan,
the Lord of Sin himself, a lesser evil, who comes with, I mean, this is a specialist. He's got the highest health pool in the game next to Diablo, the Lord of Terror, though. So he's not a warrior. We have no warrior on this team, but he's got an amazing skill set here, as he can summon all sorts of devilish minions to do his work for him. But very importantly here is both the General of Hell, his trait, which can push hard on lanes, but one of the things here is I think he's going to use that All Shall Burn. It's a red ray of huge damage, and if you put that on Illidan, it actually makes it difficult for Fan to just jump in there and butterfly his way around and bounce between different opponents.
Yeah, it's really good at zoning and controlling an area. It's a huge laser, like mentioned by Grubby, that will burn heroes down. So him utilizing that spell will be important in how he utilizes it. You got to make sure you don't get disrupted, though, because the moment you get disrupted, Asmodan has no mobility. He can be picked off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think we need to take a little bit of extra time to really dig in to Washington's composition. Sylvanas is known as an excellent pusher with a simple disable of towers. Zagara is known as an excellent pusher just due to the fact that she's planting creep tumors to see anyone coming in. All her abilities do some kind of either high burst or high single target damage. Excuse me, not high burst, high AoE or high single target damage. And all in all, this is going to couple with Asmodan's really good pushing ability. And there's not a lot of other things the composition can do. I mean, tell us how Sylvanas fits into this, Grubby.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you have a numerical advantage of any number, 4 versus 3, 1 versus 0, 5 versus 4, if Sylvana is part of that posse, she's going to use her black arrows to disable enemy fortifications. And they're going to die pretty quickly. We've got 3 awesome pushing heroes here with an area of effect healing from Brightwing and an amazing damage dealing there from Jaina. So they were saying, I mean, Illidan there with the double support is normally difficult to kill. How about we just get a team of full pushers and damage dealers and try to win the game in a different way than we normally see? I love this, but it is a big gambit, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's a different strategy being pulled off here. 3 specialists is never something that you see in a team comp ever at the highest level of play. And so 3 being here is something that can really just kind of change really the metagame and how we know it. They're exploiting what they have available. So yeah, you're right, man. This is so weird.
I mean, this is already the most excited I've been for a match. I mean, and allow me to share my deep personal bias.
Go.
I think Asmodan is the best hero in the world.
Okay.
I love
Not just
playing
in the game.
Asmodan so much. In the world, you name me a hero from some literature, no. Asmodan's cooler.
How about that one? No, Asmodan, right?
Asmodan, that's right. I don't even let them finish. Now, of course, Rhaegar is another character I want to take a very close look at because Rhaegar is going to be a big tipping favor for Cal Berkeley. The fact that Rhaegar has the massive heroic heal, allowing him to keep Illidan in the fight.
Yeah, very important. Rhaegar has 2 heroes that he would like to heal and keep in the fight. It's going to be Illidan or it's going to be ETC, which of course will be diving in and causing disruption. So with that being said, we have some weird compositions coming from Washington State, and I'm excited to see how it will be occurring. Let's go into game number 2. Day 9, Grubby, kick us off.
In the left side, in the blue trunks, it is California Berkeley. And on the right side from Washington in the red trunks, it is the hot dogs.
Yep, we're a little into this game here, but we're going to go and see how our teams will be playing. Shiny and Panda Bear getting the aggression on in the middle lane. In the very far top lane, we see Asmodan and Zagara pushing that lane. This is a deadly force if they're able to get to turrets. So you see Berkeley matching them. In fact, they're overmatching them, and they're putting 3 members in the top lane to prevent this from really allowing them to grab anything early.
Yeah, the funny thing is usually either Zagara there, the Laughing One, or Asmodan, they cannot really be stopped by a single hero. So the two of them there forcing a response of 3 makes that Sylvanas in the middle with Brightwing could potentially be more effective.
I do want to note already, a couple minutes into this game, in the very far top left, Asmodan with his Global of Annihilation was throwing it down and did take down a couple of turrets already. So Washington, though, even behind experience, have been able to take down some infrastructure. Berkeley, though, is already setting up for the first tribute of the game.
Guys, I need to mention this. University of Washington Hot Dogs, they have 4 times picked the ability at level 4 called Envenom. This is a huge burst of damage that when used in tandem, in unison together, can just take someone nearly from full to 0 life.
Literally, this comp is to push down infrastructure and just get rid of Illidan. And Illidan doesn't have a high health pool. He can't deal with more than a couple of Venoms already as is. So really, Washington just wants to get a number advantage if they do ever team fight by using their abilities. So we'll see how that actually does play out as it goes into the mid late game. But Grubby, thank you for pointing that out. That's a big deal.
Man, this is insane.
Yeah, and I mean, we're even seeing Asmodan. The level 1 talent for Asmodan traditionally is something that helps his Orb of Annihilation deal extra damage. There's a few different choices there, going for neither of them, instead choosing a healing ward. Definitely slotting Asmodan into much more of a support role.
I'm glad you're pointing that out because they don't actually have another support character who can take the healing ward. Now, Brightwing has an area of effect healing, but it only counts for allied heroes. Heal ward will heal all of the summons that you're putting down in a lane. So Asmodan, Zagara, they all have summons and they will be healed by that as well. Very cool. This is a very specific strategy. This is about as crazy as a game of soccer where the goalkeeper starts to attack as well. It's like, I'll just leave
What are you doing in the middle of the field?
I don't need to defend. Let's just attack.
And we see there Panda Bear showing precisely why Brightwing is such an excellent choice against Illidan. Uh-oh, you're about to die? No. You're a sheep. The polymorph ability completely shuts down.
Now, next tribute is spawning. We have a bit of a scuffle here. It is a 2 versus 2, and Jaina gets taken down. Nice there by Cal Berkeley. 0 leading charge. Bandajigo dropping low, but not quite being taken down yet. Now, laughing. He's threatening to take the tribute. Of course, he's not going to be able to take it.
But he's going to try and delay. He's going to be able to throw a couple abilities. There come the roaches. They'll start delaying. But in the middle of the map, we already have Asmodan. Oh, let's watch it laughing. Let's see if they're going to be able to poke him off. No. We did have Kawaii Rice already pushing in the middle of the lane, using that ability. But now, with Panda Bear showing up and Kawaii Rice, they're able to poke their opponents down. And a straight-up engagement in about a span of 10 seconds, we'll see Cal Berkeley win it. But if it takes a long time, 15 or 20, Washington can poke them down. And we're seeing it here. A 0 will be picked off.
Unreal. I mean, I can't stress that word enough. I mean, the term poke is very common for some compositions. The idea that you don't want to jump into the fray, deal a lot of damage quickly. You want to deal 10%. And then a few seconds later, deal another 10%.
Right.
And keep doing it, and then maybe an opportunity will arise where you can get in there and finish them off. So many of the abilities on the hot dog side of things are about that poke.
Washington keeping a solid lead here as Zagara laughing here is pushing in the top far left corner. In the middle of the map, we still have pressure from Asmodan as he's constantly trying to use his Global of Annihilation to help break down the middle of the map. But we are moving to level 10. We're going to see Kawaii Rice, Panda Bear, and Ugapa grab some more pressure, get that middle of the map pushing so they can contest this third tribute. The thing is, when Berkeley gets level 10 though, and they get their heroic abilities, their composition really starts to come together and starts to mold. The best composition in the game that we were mentioning is because of their heroics. So we'll see how, as we move to level 10, how Washington can deal with that.
Oh, yep, exactly. Both of them are about to reach level 10 here. Cal Berkeley just a little bit sooner, just as his third tribute is spawning. Both of the tributes went to Washington so far. There we see that tribute. Everyone's starting to decide, are we going to go for this? Are we going to give it up? Well, Cal Berkeley can't give it up. Level 10 is reached for Washington Hot Dogs here.
And the best part is Washington can make a judgment call. We talked about the poke being a central piece to Washington's mixture of heroes. This is exactly why. Look at this. Poke.
I mean, if you call that a poke, having a meteor drop on your head, yeah, I guess it qualifies.
Yeah, it's a great poke. I completely, wholeheartedly agree with you, Grubby. Washington doesn't have to make big choices around the tributes. They can see if opportunities arise.
I do want to go down to the bottom lane and point out that the entire time, Sylvanas was actually using the pressure to go ahead and take out a couple of turrets. So they were able to get a little bit of pressure on the map here. So I'm sorry, getting down on low on HP. So she was there by herself. She got some mini experience, so she was nicely in that position. But you can see how that strategy allows them to sit in different lanes. Zagara was in the top as well. And they were able to get a little bit more experience, and they were able to get a little bit of pressure overall. But Cal Berkeley overall has been soaking a little bit better already. They just hit level 10 before their opponents.
Now, this time the Brightwing player didn't pick up Blink Heal, went for an Emerald Wind. So, very key point here is that we have a team Cal Berkeley. What's happening?
This composition just continues to get better and better. Not just the pre-game choices, but the in-game choices do go on about the Emerald Wind.
We see Cal Berkeley. They have a team that jumps in, is very mobile, and they want to weave in with the opponent. They want to get it really chaotic. Now Washington will try to use Brightwing's Emerald Wind to push away the enemy, and whoever is isolated from the rest, use those 3 Envenoms that they have there and take him down really quickly. Devouring Maw, another great one to make sure that there's a separation on Cal Berkeley's side. Here, Tribute spawning. If Washington gets it, they will have a curse on the opponent. They're starting to work on Panda Jigu there.
Panda uses a heroic. It's a big deal. Stage dive actually goes down for 0 as well. But Washington walks away. That's 2 heroics down for Cal Berkeley. Are they going to keep poking? Are they going to keep the aggression up? Remember, there are still heroics available here for Washington. Now it's on their turf when they want to fight.
The next talent comes at 13, so safety remains for Washington, who are also at almost level 12. Zero's trying to find an opportunity to step in. Panda Jigu staying safely at the backside. The creep tumors from Zagara gaining a little bit of extra vision, a little bit of extra mobility. And of course, Fan is going to try to come down here, but Kawaii Rice in the Azmodan has an insane amount of health. And Panda Bear is actually making a play for the tribute.
That was very close, very close. As he keeps threatening to get it, Panda Jigu there with the Hungering Arrow, cancelling the acquisition of that tribute once again. This time it will be Zero, who will be using his body to potentially cancel that. Now, all the while, Siege Giants are pushing for Team Washington at the bottom.
Wow!
The longer they can make this happen, the more time they can buy, the more advantage they will gain in that regard. The wall is being taken down. 1 tower goes down now.
You see Cal Berkeley trying to move onto this creep here. This entire area is what Washington owns. They cannot walk onto that area until they get rid of the creep tumor. So you see Ugapa just really helping out, staying in the background, waiting for Fan to dive in. And they're going to try and burst down that Illidan. But we now see Berkeley making a little bit of progress, finally clearing all that creep and now gaining the advantage in terms of leveling. But Washington, again, could cause an engagement at any point.
Man, I like how this is working. Washington is casually splitting up the heroes, 2 here, 3 there, and it just works.
All right, Zero charges in, though. They want to fight, finally.
Laughin with the Devouring Maw, missing pretty much everyone, and will get taken down. Kawaii Rice there going back. Emerald Wind will hit 3 of them, but Fan jumps in. 1 more goes down, and with the aggressive stage dive there in by Zero. 2 takedowns already. He will try to take down more, but did he bite off more than he could chew? Yes, he will get taken down. It's a 2 for 1. What about ultimated?
In a matter of seconds, we see precisely why Cal Berkeley's composition is considered one of the utmost best ultimate. No! The Envenom was guaranteed a death unless he got that last second heal, but this is again why Rhaegar is considered such an amazing, amazing support character. By the way, oh yeah, there's a tribute in this game. It very much so looks like this is going to, again, go to Washington.
Sapi charges in there with the Feral Lunge, will take a lot of icicles from Ugapa there into his face. Ice Shiny aggressively chasing them out there, and Panda Bear even chasing away. Tribute finally captured by Washington Hot Dogs.
Spectacular.
Spectacular.
Absolutely spectacular. And this is an awkward moment, actually, for Team Washington, because their team doesn't really fight very well as a team. I mean, a lot of the strength comes from splitting up, from assaulting different targets, and the fact that there is a curse now means that they will be able to advance forward, but they do have to be very careful. We even see it looks like 1 teleport out from Washington.
Now what Fan is doing at the bottom lane here is making sure that no more damage can be done here. The combination of the General of Hell from Azmodan as well as the Siege Giants and the Curse finally laid waste to the fort. So he's trying to stop any of these minions from getting too close to the keep and applying more pressure there. We take a look at the middle lane as the action is heating up here. We have a concerted effort here by University of Washington, taking down the wall, but not really daring to commit any further than that.
Wow.
You see them playing a little bit careful.
They should be, right?
Washington saw Fan disappear from the bottom lane. The moment that happened, they all hopped on their horses, they hit their mount, and they skedaddled.
Let's go for a ride, boys. It's getting a bit dangerous here.
Here's what they can do well, though. Remember, they have all this creep available to them. They can see all this area, which means they can go ahead and focus down a golem really quickly. Look at that laser from Kawaii Rice. It takes out golems very quickly, especially with the aid of your 4 teammates. They're focusing it down, and right now, let's pull up the mini-map. The blue team is nowhere near. They're all down in the bottom left corner grabbing their own golem. So we'll see if there's going to be a play here from Washington if they want to go ahead and try to head down to that area.
Now, generally speaking, if the boss is finished and then you want to try and get your own boss, you're too late. But they started it as they saw it was still busy, which means they'll be able to go 1-for-1 and get their own boss as well. There we go.
This is going to be an interesting exchange. Traditionally, the boss applies a pretty massive amount of pressure. Definitely one person needs to go back and deal with the boss, otherwise he's going to pick off quite a lot. On the Washington side of things, I'm not sure they mind so much pulling back to try to pick off the boss, because as you said, Asmodan getting March of Sin, allowing him to move while channeling the laser, means he's incredibly efficient at taking down this pushing boss at the bottom very quickly.
Yeah, I don't think this boss will even reach the keep wall. Like, sure, it got the fort, that was pretty much a given. Their own boss is pushing against the enemy wall already, and there we see that March of Sin dodging the roads, going with him, pretty much moving at the same speed.
Look at that, just walking backwards. Shiny going to show up as well. And as mentioned by Grubby, the golem in the top left corner did do a little bit of damage overall, but for the most part, Washington's going to defend this a little bit better. I was actually more curious as whether or not they were going to go for a base trade in any way, shape, or form. If it was an actual full-on base trade with the blue team down the bottom right corner pushing, Washington in the top left corner pushing, I believe Washington wins a base trade scenario.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that Cal Berkeley wouldn't let that happen. I think they would go for a full-on 5v5, which I think at this point is too risky for Washington Hot Dogs. We have triple blood for blood being picked up by Cal Berkeley. That's an ability you can get at level 16, which creates a transference of HP from Team Washington to Team Cal Berkeley. It's a lot of burst damage, and it's at this point not really safe to do 5v5s anymore for Washington. Much rather, they would like the game to just keep going, a lot of posturing, and have Kawaii Rice's summons, General of Hell, pushing in faraway lanes, and just get a lot of siege damage done in this way.
This is the slow and steady to a T mix. Look at the stage dive coming right on in. Kawaii Rice is more than likely to be bursted down. In seconds, he is gone. It's a disaster. Zagara falls. Ice Shiny is at the front lines. Rhaegar's healing immediately prevents any significant damage from going down. And Ugapa, the last standing hero from Washington, kind of sitting wondering to herself, where's my tank?
Yeah, this is exactly This is exactly what Washington didn't want. It was a full-on fight. Asmodan nearly at the enemy gate there. Of course, stage dive can initiate it anytime he jumps in, deals damage, and slows. Asmodan was pretty much already for the afterlife. But the other 4, maybe they should have still tried to disengage. But yeah, that's 4 takedowns for Cal Berkeley. Nice job by them.
I mean, this really goes to show why the meta is there. Again, the meta being what are the common choices that people make for their compositions. We typically see about 2 damage dealers, 1.5 supports, 1.5 tanks. Sometimes players will skew more towards one side or the other. And here we have 3 specialists, a damage dealer and a support. Well, with no real good tankiness, we saw exactly the fate that was to really be inevitable for Washington's composition. A single misstep team fight, boom, goodbye entire composition, almost a full sweep from Berkeley.
Now there's 2 redeeming factors here for Team Washington. Waiting games will continue to work in their favor.
Right.
Yeah.
And secondly, if ever a base trade happens, Washington is the upper dog. The one thing they don't want to have happen is full-blown team fights of 5v5. If they can avoid that, they can inch out a victory here, a war of attrition. But Cal Berkeley will be looking for that engagement, and if they are successful in setting that up, they should have a pretty good fight.
So Tim, I want to ask you, what is the methodology that Washington's going to use? How do they make sure they don't fall too far behind? How do they avoid that team fight while not sacrificing all objectives?
Well, here's the problem is they've already fallen behind, and they need to realize that that's the mentality that they have to have. As Grubby mentioned, they have a lot of pressure they can put on the battleground with all the abilities that their heroes put out. So right now, they're going to try and sneak around and grab this tribute, but I would not be opposed to them actually letting it go. However, in the top right corner, Cal Berkeley realizes that their opponents are all the way down the bottom left corner trying to grab a tribute, and they're going to punish them for it. They're charging forward, going for the keep. And right now, Washington needs to get back and defend this. They do not want to lose this keep. If they lose it, they give level 20 to Cal Berkeley, and they will be behind and have to soak more lanes and, of course, wait out a game. Here comes the engagement, though, as the Devouring Maul goes down from Laughing.
That is a fantastic Moss.
Suppy.
Suppy. Oh no, Rhaegar, the key healer. That's one of the linchpins to this composition. Annihilated in seconds. There is the channel and a stage dive to get out of the way, and it looks like Ultimated is going to be picked off. We see Panda Bear using the Emerald Mist. Runs right
I'll
through
go the other way
composition.
then.
Yeah, it looks like Ultimated is barely going to be able to escape, but that was a surprisingly good fight led by the Devouring Maw.
Ultimated looks like he will finally be taken down. I do want to mention, I love the giddy up there. They realized they were seconds away from allowing their teammate or their opponents to get level 20, so they went in, they charged forward. You saw Sprint from Jaina, which allows her to chase at a higher pace than you would normally see from her. Able to get those takedowns, and that puts them back in the game. Right now, with them grabbing a Golem and going to have that pushing in the top lane, they can get level 20 very quickly, especially if they can potentially deny this Tribute now spawning.
This is tremendous. The Tribute on the opposite side from the Golem. And if you look at the top left side of the base,
fans can get it.
the Golem is heading towards a fort that is already down. This is the sort of counter pressure that Washington needs at this point in time. The front turret line is down. It looks like Zero and Suppy might have to be committed to defense during this crucial pushing opportunity.
Now the red team is cursed, but the red team has a boss pushing. This needs a response. Even though the red team is cursed, the boss functions at full strength. So it would kill that keep if nothing was defended. That means that 1 or 2 heroes need to defend. That means they cannot contest this boss. Nice here. They're getting the second Grave Golem.
I love this, Grubby. They're doing high risk, high reward. Now, they did notice their opponents are up in the top left corner. They see it because they have control of that Golem. And although they're on a curse and you should be back defending, they realize they've come to win this tournament. They're going to take a small play here. They're going to grab their Golem and go back and defend the pushing coming their way. The plays Washington is making right now is game-changing. It might be enough to maybe push them to level 20 and potentially allow them set up for a team fight and maybe take the game and go into game number 3.
That's a great point. They're playing much more aggressively than the previous teams we've seen play when behind.
Yep. And now they reached that level 20. The Golem is starting to push the wall. Okay, sure, it will take down 2 towers, but they reached level 20. Let's talk in this brief lull in the game about their talents. We've got pushing winds from Brightwing. She will be able to have 3 Emerald Wind pushing people away with that blast. We've got triple Bolt of the Storm picked here on Zagara, Sylvanas, and Jaina. They want to be able to get away and reposition. And finally, good guy Asmodan there with the heal ward at level 1 and the Storm Shield at level 20, being a sort of secondary support here in the team.
I do want to talk really quickly on the mini-map, but we do have the small amount of time to talk. Both teams right now are even. The forts for both sides have been taken out already here. Top right, middle for both sides. It's a mirror matchup right now. It's all about map control and potentially team fights, which we might be having one pretty darn soon.
Now, no keeps were taken down yet. That's very relevant. No catapults are spawning. That means that both teams can dedicate their full amount of heroes, all 5, to potential team fights and clashes over objectives.
This is a very tense situation to be in.
That's such a cool game. Sorry.
That's such a fascinating decision set by Washington, but the flexibility of Cal Berkeley, they're not just choosing the money heroes in the money composition. They are responding, they are adjusting, they are looking for opportunities for those fights. We see the continued shoving from the siege golems at the far south, and you know, I just get so anxious whenever I see Asmodan leading the fray when there's no turrets anywhere nearby and the vision's getting kind of thin.
And Asmodan can also pick up Bolt of the Storm, but he chose not to. He's kind of the warrior here.
Which makes sense. He has a high health pool, and for the most part, it's on his team to save him.
Yeah.
Jaina has to show up, bring the damage. Laffin has to hit the Devouring Maw. Sylvanas has a great silence to prevent the full engage from happening. So he's really pushing forward and really relying on his teammates, which at this point, at the highest level of play, you have to rely on your teammates. So I just can't wait for it to actually occur in a weird sequence of events to where we just start freaking out because of how well they hit all their heroics. But a Tribute will be spawning very, very soon here, and that will probably be the next contestant point for our teams.
Okay, Kawaii Rice here, a little bit forward. Fan is wondering whether he shall jump in. First wants to claim back that vision, has it now. Kawaii Rice passing into that vision. Laffin will once again be using the Roach Bot to get vision there to make sure they don't walk into some kind of ambush. During this, oh my god, okay, stage dive, Bolt of the Storm, Zagara is away, 2 ultimates were used, 2 heroics, and they missed spectacularly.
That was a fantastic disengage, and at the same time, Brightwing picked up a tribute at the north end. We see 2 out of 3 tributes happening. This is why Bolt of the Storm, the blink, the short-range teleport from Washington is such a brilliant decision. We see 2 critical ultimates, 2 critical heroic abilities from Team Cal Berkeley are down right now.
Now Cal Berkeley does have Illidan picking the demonic form there. He will be all the time in his super powerful avatar form. But what he won't have is dodging some very powerful abilities in a fight if that happens in the next 40 seconds or so. So there is a small bit of advantage here. 2 heroics were used by Cal Berkeley, Washington none. This could be the moment where actually they're roughly kind of okay with a 5v5. And that may happen exactly here as they're trying to get their 3rd tribute.
This is the danger moment right now.
Yeah,
we're
I'm nervous.
This is such a heart-pounding moment. Kawhi Rice, Azmodan leading the charge. Zero darts in, a little bit of a dangerous position. No stage dive yet. Still 30 seconds before both ultimates are back for Cal Berkeley. We're seeing the poke game from Washington continue.
Now Illidan has his demonic form again. He's been refreshing his cooldowns by attacking enemy minions. That's his trait. 10 seconds away from stage dive. It's better for blue team to wait here. They're happy with this reprieve. Polymorph on Fan, starting to take a lot of damage. Ugapa, he has 10% of his life, and he will get Devouring Maw.
What an excellently timed Maw, an excellently placed Maw, and there it looks like though Fan and Zero, Rhaegar with Ancestral Healing skyrockets the health of Fan back to full. Finally, the very first hero falls. It is going to be Zagara. The dogs! Illidan with the long-range death. Kawhi Rice showing why Azmodan is the best hero in the world. It's 4v4. The tribute still has not been picked up. Kawhi Rice sitting at basically full health, but we see iShiny at the far back, extremely low. Ugapa at the bottom, extremely low, but still dishing out massive heals.
Now during that time, Zagara, Laffin1, he got taken down as well. And with their main 2 damage dealers in Ugapa and the Sylvanas player, iShiny, they were not able to continue to commit to this fight. As spectacular as it was, Washington lost the tribute. It was a 1-for-1, but this is still a small advantage here for Cal Berkeley.
This was an amazing team fight from both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot stress enough how carefully, how controlled Washington played in that. What's their greatest weakness? The direct team fight. What happened to Illidan? He got healed back to full. That's exactly why Rhaegar Illidan is such a terrifying combo and still got taken out. I mean, Kawhi Rice is playing this really utterly unique style of Azmodan fantastically.
Grubby, Day 9, as we move to the late game, both teams are starting to grab their golems in the top right. We already see the red team in the bottom left. We see the blue team grabbing their own as well. And really, it's super important to grab these golems so you can put some kind of pressure on the battleground. The question is, who is going to maybe go for an all-in here? Who might base race? It is a potential possibility here for Washington. However, they're a little bit low on HP, so it might be wise for them to go ahead and pull back, heal up, and prepare for the next team fight, which means with a tribute spawning actually in the very far bottom left corner already right now, Washington is definitely at a disadvantage because the blue team is already set up. Cal Berkeley looking great here, and they actually would like for the red team to come into this area.
I really feel like they're just going to have to sack this tribute.
Yeah, they have to.
There's going to be no attempt. You can see on the mini-map, we're already noticing all of Washington's teams rotating down to the bottom side, trying to catch this golem before it deals too much damage. The fact that this series of towers in front of this keep is alive is pretty massive.
Yeah, that is really huge. It gives them the reprieve. They're defending with all 5 here. They will just barely lose that second tower. I mean, the first tower, but not the second one yet. Lots of damage there. The other golem is still alive. Will it get the keep? Yes!
Oh, nice.
That is huge.
That's a big deal here for Washington. That means catapults will be spawning in their lane for them, which will put pressure constantly on that entire lane, which means when the 3rd tribute spawns up, because both teams want to get a 3rd tribute because they both have 2, that California Berkeley will need to force an engagement because Washington has the tools to delay grabbing that tribute to allow the catapults to get in the top lane and put pressure.
Great long-range orbs.
This is good for Washington.
Out of Azmodan. This is the position that Washington needed. This is massive. There's the catapult coming out because the northern keep is down. We see Ultimated leading the charge, not the character you want into the front, but Zero stage dives in, immediately targeting happening directly on there. But where is Illidan? Illidan is not yet in the fight. The Maw lands. It is still 5v5 heroes at this point.
Now that was 2 heroics being used and for both sides actually, so incredibly even once again. Emerald Wind and Devouring Maw. Those are some of the more important heroics though for Washington. I'm a little bit worried for them, as they missed their biggest 2 tools of disengage, and Illidan didn't jump in yet. I'm very worried actually for Washington. I'm not sure that they can do this, but they also feel they cannot really afford to give this one up, because this is the curse tribute.
This is make or break for both sides right now. 0 cooldown on abilities back. Kawhi Rice getting targeted, but continues to evade. Uh-oh, Ancestral Healing from Rhaegar used a little too early. Fan Metamorphosis and is looking so low on health, but manages to evade yet again. Kawhi Rice, the first to fall, the tankiest hero on the team.
Wow.
Can the remainder of Washington get out? What a play from Ugapa, managing to swing around, pick off Fan, and now it looks like 0 with a sliver of health.
But they need to get back in there. Panda Bear needs to interrupt this one. It's a 4 versus 4. She's going to even use Sprint. A Sprint and Polymorph, but did she overstretch too far? No, that was a good move. Okapa now starting to do damage on Ultimated. He's using the Dimensional Shift to get away. Very healthy here, Washington is. They can actually take this one back. That was amazing.
They've broken through. Washington's going to get the third tribute.
Yeah.
They have it. They now have the curse. And remember, they have pressure in the top lane. Let's look at the top lane really quickly so we can see where the catapults are as we actually see a member getting picked off. Ultimated did get picked off the bottom right. But pressure here as well. Ugapa keeping up with the aggression, going after Panda. Can Washington move here and get a keep? If they can secure another one, that's a huge win for them.
Yeah, with this cursor, with Sylvana, Zagara, I mean, they have the best pusher team that we've ever seen in Heroes of the Dorm. Zagara, Asmodan, and Sylvanas, they're getting this keep. That's 2 keeps down. They still have all 3 of their own. They're now going to be starting to push into the middle one. Ultimated. He's still down for 35 seconds on Tassadar.
But Illidan is back. Illidan is the character that can punish so well if the enemy team begins to split up, begins to spread. It's unlikely that we're going to see that, but this is what I think is so consistently brilliant about Washington. The way that they are looking at their composition, saying what is the strengths, and they're leveraging that. They're not going to be good in these direct engagements. They're going to pull back while the curse is still active, while all of Cal Berkeley is still trying to manage, and they're going to pick up more encampments, particularly the ones that can push on the top side.
Yeah.
And right now, there's a liability for California Berkeley. Point at the minimap. This lane in particular and this lane are constantly going to be having pressure. This lane's okay for now, but eventually that weight of constantly pushing down onto them is going to be something that can break them if they don't manage it well. I'm really scared here for Berkeley, especially with the team comp of Washington that can constantly keep pushing down this middle lane now freely because they can afford to have all 5 members here at all times.
And that is the cool way you can capitalize on being ahead in the game. You don't actually have to push in and end the enemy core by your own hands immediately. Just forcing defensive actions by your opponent all the time in the top and the bottom lane.
Oh, this is scary. I wouldn't go through here. Washington in a weird position. Laughin gets caught as well. Kawhi Rice stuck in the back left corner, getting picked down. Laughin still in trouble. Isn't caught off by Panda. And day 9, this is not looking good for Washington.
Cut right in half. Cal Berkeley intercepted Washington as they were trying to move north through the passage. Kawhi Rice, amazingly, is still alive, but iShiny has to evade. Kawhi Rice can fall, but the high damage dealers, the ones that will be needed for the defense, those have to stay alive. It was an amazingly good exchange for Washington, 2 for 2, but they're playing with fire.
This is amazing. Ugapa, the unsung hero here of the fight, by herself, killed Tassadar and Vala.
Which is rare, by the way, because Tassadar has that invulnerable button, the dimensional shift that he can use. So
and Vala has Bolt of the Storm and Vault.
Yeah, you're
she
right.
She 1v2'd them.
Wow, well
and now
done
it's 2
there.
each. Very well done. I was so worried for Washington there. This is match point for them. If they lose, they will be out, but they continue to avail themselves with such flying colors. Amazing. Now, blue team, they're starting to actually not defend the bottom lane. That's 2 Siege Giants and 2 Catapults.
This is possibly a game-ending push that will have 0 participation from the pushing team. Washington has set themselves up to be in such an excellent position. The boss at the north did not go to Washington. That is a big relief for Cal Berkeley as, again, the top side is wide open. But right now with Asmodan down, with Jaina down, this is a very threatening position to be in for Washington. They are so close to closing out this game by having evaded, by playing keep away.
Now they're both level 24, almost level 25 for Cal Berkeley. They actually sustained 14% damage on their core by those Giants, but they've got a boss. Will this be a base trade? Will they fight over the next curse? It's about to happen here.
It's 2 out of 3 curses for Cal Berkeley. If they secure this, that could be it. This could be the game right now. This is, again, make or break for Washington. They did the damage they needed with the last push. Are they just going to sacrifice it?
No, Washington should fight here. If we pull up the minimap really quickly, we do have Vala down here in the bottom left corner for Cal Berkeley, which means this is a 5v4 for the red team. They want to poke them down if possible, but they don't know that quite yet. Or they do know that. They see it down in the bottom left corner, but they're so scared. They need Asbanan here. Asbanan, though, is actually being forced to defend against its golem in the top right corner. So you have the teams split up pretty heavily here, and now 3 members are getting caught.
Devouring Maul catches only Rhaegar. Bolt of the Storm is not active anymore for Lav-N1. Will be taken down. 4 versus 5. iShiny is trying to get away by the skin of his teeth. Still has Bolt of the Storm, but this does mean that the curse will be made for Cal Berkeley.
Okay, he cannot get caught there. They're going to need all members on deck here to help defend against this huge push. The curse is here, day 9. Pressure coming from all lanes as the Washington Hot Dogs are going to have to figure out a way to defend this. The good news for them is their mid game was great. They still have 2 keeps available.
I do not like this play at all for Cal Berkeley. I mean, Grubby, walk me through. Why would they not be pushing down the top lane at this point?
I mean, the boss just perished, and there is a lot of damage on Washington's core. It's at 71% life, but all that the curse does is disable forts, keeps, and minions. The core is still at full effectiveness. Now, they do have a 5 versus 4, but they don't think that's enough to attack into the enemy core, so they don't want to take that risk. They figure, we want to equalize the situation here, we want to play it safe, and this boss may give us your bottom keep. This may ruin the bottom keep, and then it'll be
there
one
might be
keep
an all
each.
in. They might all in here.
Oh!
Are they going to all in? Are they going to base race?
Uh-oh, they are.
Okay, everyone,
There's
have
no
not
walls
been
here.
revealed.
There's no walls. They're in between minion waves. No, cold feet.
He's pinging here. He's saying, wait here until we see precisely where they
That's
are.
it? Are they
They
going?
see them down in the bottom right keep. The
But
moment
they're
they
going
do,
through the
they're
vision.
They're going through the vision. They're revealing themselves. The question is, who thinks they can kill faster? Oh no! Cal Berkeley going for the encampments. What are they doing? They're trying to get encampments at this point. Oh,
Okay,
at the
it was a
last
fake. It
second
was a
they
fake.
decide to pull back out, and now the siege golems down in the south.
They were actually threatening an all-in by going through the vision, forcing a response, and now it means that Washington will be able to deal with the golem while not having to deal with all 5 of them. They successfully ultimated the Tassadar player portal away. It's a 4 versus 5 now.
Fan darting in without any his teammates too nearby. The Golem continues to shove. The Golem is on the core, dealing absolutely massive damage. The Emerald Wind causes a temporary disengagement. They have to take down the boss, down to 30%, 20%. The solid composition wins out, and in a absolute nail-biter, a 33-minute match, the unorthodox composition of Washington falls. Cal Berkeley, the 3rd team to advance to the heroic 4 next weekend. I mean, you gotta give it up for Washington. They made an amazing game out of a composition that had nothing to do with any of the normal logic in the meta, and that is going to give Cal Berkeley the win. They got the Power 5.
Cal Berkeley still undefeated all the way through the entire tournament, though. That was a close one, especially against an unorthodox composition, but they were able to just barely clinch through at the end. But man, my heart still beat, man. That was a crazy game.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. I mean, those final moments there, is it a base straight? Is it not? Maybe if they went for it or they threatened a little bit more, it could have gone different. But yeah, their core was hurt. It was a very nail-biting situation, and just major props to University of Washington, man. They made some history here, and I want to see if some fans around the world will be playing around with that composition. That was amazing.
Yes, I mean, it's so easy to disregard the specialist, to think, okay, we need some damage, a tank, a support, probably another support. No, let's probably not do a specialist. Let's just do yet another tank or yet another damage dealer. It's just really the norm, but
And let's talk about that composition.
Yeah.
For this battleground in particular, Cursed Hollow, it kind of works a little bit on this battleground because you have stable positions where you have to go to move forward to get objectives. And here we have a team fight around this tribute. It does not look good here for Washington. Kawhi Rice is caught out of position. He's taking damage very, very quickly. He's able to pull back a little bit. Fan charges in and does chase down Kawhi Rice. But you see all the envenoms from Washington just go off. And right now, this position right here looks horrible for Washington, but as a team of 4, let's go ahead and pause really quickly here. We see everyone here is doing a great job. Ugapa has been a star hero. I'm going to give him a star, actually, just to prove that. He's able to snipe Illidan here in the top left corner, taking out Fan, which is arguably one of the star players for California Berkeley. Now, with Ugapa going to go ahead and pull on back to his team, make sure to be around him, and you'll see Lawfin actually back home. He's going to go over here and heal up with that fountain. Now, when he does that, iShiny, Panda Bear, and Ugapa work together to try and poke down their opponents. So let's go ahead and hit play here. As you see, Cal Berkeley is in a better position, and they know it. They're going to pull back. use Zero, because he has the lowest health bar, by the way, to go ahead and grab the tribute and have their 3 teammates that are full on health bar to go ahead and help defend against the red team. You see Panda Bear make the play, man. What a beast here. Charges in, uses Polymorph on Zero, pulls back to his teammates. Loffen, now full on health, is able to walk forward here, use the burst damage with his Hydralisk and help out take members. Panda in trouble. Their tank, the Warrior low on HP, secures him a huge tribute. Well done there by Washington.
Unusually long fights throughout the game. I mean, very often you expect to see an entire team wipe, as happened that very first time in the mid-game, but just incredible resilience. I mean, it's almost even hard to parse what was allowing them to stay alive so well in that position. But now, with that match having been concluded, we know 3 teams that will be advancing to the Heroic Four next Sunday live from the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. It'll all be broadcast on ESPN. Please go to heroesofthedorm.com for information of how to join us there live, or when and how to tune in and watch. We're not done yet for the day. Coming up next is our final match. It's going to be Illinois versus Indiana. Stay tuned.